Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Shay, and welcome to Truth Moment. You guys, it has been so long since I've done one of these. I used to do a series called Somebody Needs to Hear This, and it was just basically about things that I just happened to go through in my life, and I felt like someone needed to hear it because are we really holding each other accountable? And it's so funny because speaking of holding each other accountable, I feel like we're not being honest with ourselves, with our friends, with our family. So I just wanted to name this series Truth Moment because I want to have some truth moments. But before you get up, you have to realize what's holding you down in the first place. Before you start that job, sign that lease, before you say yes, let's figure out what's been holding you back. I actually have my MacBook right here and I have like my notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because my MacBook is right here. So as you can see based on the title, today's video is about not scratching your itch. So let's go ahead and get into it. Every time I say no to a small temptation, I strengthen my will to say no to a greater one. Temptation is simply an itch that you want to scratch. There are two forms of temptation. We have one, the biblical sense, pornography, we have gossip, we have fornication, just things of that nature. And then our second one is breaking your own rules, such as meaningless interactions, going anyway, so on and so forth. Let's talk about the first one, the biblical sense. Sex out of wedlock, fornication, things like that. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13. God will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. You find yourself in these situations, A or B, and you know which choice would make you the version that you're trying to become, the version that you are proud of. The reason why you're constantly in this same position, getting tested with the same test, is because you have yet to pass. Not because you don't know. You've already counted yourself out. You've already given up on yourself. You already have decided that this ugly trait, this itch, this temptation, it's you. It's who you are. Either get with it or get left. But what you don't understand is that temptation is what's stopping you from walking, fulfilling, seeing the purpose that God has created you for. You have the tools. You have the strength. Just use it. Going on to Matthew 26 verse 41, Jesus reminds us to stay vigilant and prayerful to resist temptation. Hello. It just happened. Of course, the demons that you're battling with, those situations will occur. I don't know, what do I do? Stay in your word. Continue to pray and stay vigilant. And when we're talking about prayer, we're not talking about the stereotypical close the door behind you, cover your head, close your eyes, get on your knees, bow your head. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about having conversations with God. If they have given you the wrong idea as to how to speak to Christ, just simply talk. I think that He already knows what's in your heart. He knows what you're going through. He sees you. The purpose of talking to God is to get you through your situation, is to keep your faith alive, your hope lit. That's why we're talking to God. Because think about it, you talk to your therapist, you talk to your mom, you talk to your friends. Does that not give you a certain sense of clarity, relief, release? There's no difference when it comes to Christ. You're simply speaking to Him about the situation that He already knows. Leave this out, leave that out. When it comes to people that bleed red like you, that have flesh like you, there's no need to do that when it comes to Him. Whether you say it or not, He already knows. So let's be honest. He already knows what you're struggling with. So tell Him. And while you're telling Him, you're able to actually hear yourself. And once you hear yourself, you can finally stop running away from whatever it is that you think that you're running away from. Say the ugly thing so you and God can build a connection. At the end of the day, He's not telling anybody. He's not tired of listening to you. He dang sure ain't judging you. That is your Father. Talk to Him as such. Coming into Psalms 119 verse 11, keeping God's word in our hearts equips us with the strength to resist temptation. You learned how to walk, you learned how to read, you learned how to go to the grocery store, you learned how to drive, you seen it, you were taught it, and you kept it. The same thing goes for God's word. Keep reading, keep praying. God's word in your heart, that is what gives you the strength to resist scratching your itch. So in the biblical sense, When we're talking about fornicating, gossiping, we're talking about lying. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13, Matthew 26 verse 41, and Psalms 119 verse 11. To educate you, encourage you, validate you, to see you. The second sentence we're talking about breaking your own rules. It's so funny how we make our own rules for ourselves, but once enough time has went by, once you've convinced yourself it wasn't that serious, this situation has presented itself again, and you choose to break your own rules again. Every time you break your own rules, you are disrespecting yourself. You know why you made that rule. And not only for a reason, but you made those rules. This is your life, your decisions. You made those rules, so follow them. You're holding yourself back. You're running from your purpose simply because you want to keep on saying yes to temporary gratification. We're talking about generational wealth, happy home, a happy family. We're talking about your career, your purpose. And we're putting that on hold for what exactly? This is not rhetorical. What exactly is so important? Giving into temptation is a conscious choice. So you're consciously choosing less than. You have this light inside of you, these plans, but we're not executing because of what? Be honest with yourself. Tell yourself the truth. And those ugly thoughts that you've been running from, say them out loud. Say the ugly thing. Saying the ugly thing allows you to actually hear yourself so you understand that it's just that, a thought. But that's a whole different video. Right now, I want to really hone in on giving you this space to actually be honest with yourself. Is this who you want to be? These decisions that you keep making, if the people that you love, if they were to make those decisions, how would you feel about that? And some people might even be saying, oh, it's not that serious. Everything grows. As you continue to water it, feed into it, it's going to grow. And exactly what is it do you want to grow? Is this something, or are those things that you would be proud of? Or you would be proud if your loved ones did it? Those are just a few things to get the conversation going within yourself or within your circle. We have to start being honest with ourselves. We have to start having those truth moments. Temptation is like a knife. It may either cut the meat or the throat of a man. It may be his food or his poison, his exercise or his destruction. We've talked about two types of temptation, or what I would like to call them an itch. The biblical sense, sex out of wedlock, pornography, lying, stealing, and the itch within yourself. Those rules that you made for yourself because of the situations, the decisions that you tend to make. God would never give you anything that you couldn't bear. Stop disrespecting yourself by breaking your own rules. If you leave an itch alone, what happens? Don't scratch your itch.